Shalom and welcome to Students of Torah. This year is entitled Daf Yomi Sanhedrin Samech Hey. Continuing with a fantastic discussion regarding Melacha performed on Shabbat, unintentionally, intentionally, can one benefit on Shabbat or after Shabbat? So discussed in the previous year, very novel idea. Chiddush from Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. He says, well, what is the definition of benefiting? So he says we need to borrow the definition from Amir Lakum. By a guy that puts on a light for you on Shabbat, and it's already lit in the room from the outdoors or from another light that's on anyway, and you could read and you can eat there just fine. It just makes it better and easier with the light. That quantitative benefit is not defined as a benefit halachically regarding akum doing melacha for you, and you could benefit from the akum doing melacha for you. Whether he should have put on or not, it's another discussion, but you could benefit. And so too by a Jew doing melacha. So a person's not firm. Puts on a light on Shabbat in your living room, your dining room, and you were able to eat there beforehand. It was a daytime. So then you can continue to eat there. What if it was night? The lights are out, circuit breaks, something went wrong, timer went off, and it's dark at night. And someone in the house is not from. I'll put the light on. He puts the light on. Now wait, you couldn't eat by the light. You couldn't eat beforehand. And therefore, if you eat now by the light that was put on, that's defined as hana. So if that's the case, a simple pshat according to the rule would be that you cannot get hana and you cannot eat in that room. You'd have to take the food to another room where there's a light, or go to a neighbor where there's a light. But to eat in that room, that's not mutar, because that's defined as an act of hana from a melacha that was done. Now someone will ask Lamda Shashayla, wait a second. When I eat on Shabbat and I learn on Shabbat, so it's true that Mishavur the Be'er Halacha by Reisha involved by the case of a goy says, I cannot eat by the light that a guy put on. I cannot learn by the light that a guy put on. Because that's a benefit. We say mitzvah lav lehenot nitnu. Don't we say when I do a mitzvah, it's not considered hana? And yet the Be'er Halacha, quoting the Rivash in Reisha and Rav, says it is defined as hana. So Shlomo Zalman says in Shemir Shabbat that eating on Shabbat is tanug. It's a mitzvah, it's true, but the very mitzvah is a tanug. That's the mitzvah, to have this owning, have this pleasure. And therefore you cannot benefit by eating, or learning. Some want to say maybe learning is not hana, but Lamaisa Mishmur says you cannot learn or eat by the light that a goy puts on. So back to our case, you cannot eat or learn by the light that a Jew puts on Shabbat. And the simple halacha would be one would have to move. The only possible heta that a posek would have to grapple with and deal with the specifics in the case is, do we say the person didn't know any better when he put the light on? He didn't know a Shabbat, or he never had a Jewish education. Is he a Tinach Shamishba? But even if you say that, that brings it down to what? To shogeg. Shogeg on a doraita. So he did a doraita light, lit the light, and it's a shogeg. So then, in order to go ahead and permit the family to eat by the table in such a case, we would have to go ahead and say, if it was shogeg, he didn't know any better, and it was a doraita, and the Gra says that once it's shogeg, it's mutar to benefit. The Mishavur says shas hatchak, a pressing situation, you could rely on the Gra. So the family would have to discuss it with the posek. If there's another room to go to, it doesn't sound like shas hatchak. The neighbor's right next door and they're friendly, they go back and forth with each other, it doesn't sound like shas hatchak. There's no options, there's power is out everywhere, there's no lights anywhere, and they can't really have a Shabbos meal. And now the lights were put on in this one house, the other houses don't have. So he put it on, the Jew put it on over here, but it was shogeg. So that's what the possible leniency would be over here. So just to summarize, hana is defined by a qualitative benefit. So therefore, if a Jew puts on a light in a dark area and you couldn't eat there before, and you can eat in the dark, that's not really defined as eating, Shlomo Zalman says. It's fumbling around like that. And therefore, for me to eat, there's clearly a benefit. Halachically, it's hana. So now they're getting hana from an act of a Jew. That would be asur. If it's mazid, for sure it's asur. Now the question is, he didn't know any better. He never had a Jewish education. A cousin from who knows where doesn't know anything about Judaism. So it's shogeg. So it's shogeg on a daraita. You have to say, rely on the gra, b'shas hathak. Those would be the possible hatevim. Of course, if this ever comes up, a person must discuss it with a posek. But this is just the background of the case. Shalom.